So tell me a little bit about your friend.
I met Caroline 21 years ago. I was at drama school and she visited the drama school to talk about the wonders of running your own theatre company. I decided not to be an actor, but I did decide to play out with Caroline for the next 20 years. She founded Feel Good Theatre 25 years ago this year. Happy birthday, Caroline. She's poorly, by the way. And she is one of the most amazing people I have ever met in my life.
So what makes her so amazing?
She has the ability to do 14 things at once, to be humble and incredible at the same time. She has an eye for what will enthrall and delight and teach. She is a consummate theatre professional, also an opera director. She devises and delivers education programmes to accompany her Feel Good Theatre productions, but also she has a passion for making theatre that is accessible to everybody. So not just those who can afford to go to the posh buildings in town, but the people who would probably never set foot in a theatre in their lives. Did she not do it in the middle of Heaton Park or Park Bridge, or sometimes the West End, sometimes the Lowry, but she takes the theatre to where the people are. Sometimes, as is this summer, in the bushes at Heaton Park.
That's where I met her.
Were you wearing wellies at the time?
Well, only at weekends.
Last summer was the first summer production ever where we didn't get wet. Because when you go to one of her productions, it is outside Promenade Theatre, station to station. And she's known as the Theatre in the Bushes lady. But she has also devised and delivered world premieres and life-changing theatre, because as those of us with children at school will know, the arts are being dumbed down a little at the moment and denied. You can change lives with the arts, with music and theatre and other artistic endeavours. And she believes that enthusing children with a love of theatre is vital, giving them a voice through it. But also, she's built a school in the Sudan with a production of Slave, which was based on the life of a real slave, Mende, wonderful girl from the Sudan who was kidnapped at 12 and set free from slavery in London. Some years later, it still goes on. She'll work with community groups and activists and anybody who will get the job done. She's done theatre in the House of Lords, in the War Museum.
Oh, be fair, they do it all the time.
Yeah, but she does it better because she's a girl. So
thank you so much. She'd be very proud of you for that. Tell me about Sharp Futures.
So Sharp Futures is a social enterprise which is all about getting young, diverse people into creative, digital and tech. It's a massive growing sector, not least because we've all got, apparently there's 7 phones, mobile phones for every person in the world. I think most of them in my kitchen drawer, to be honest. But because of the exponential growth in screens and tech, it's a massive growing opportunity. But we have got a social mobility issue, so it's really difficult to get into things like television and film. And so Sharp Futures helps young people to get into that by something that we've got called POD, which is People on Demand. It was based on my experience, so I ended up working in the music business for 20 years, and I was a kind of normal girl from North Manchester, and it wasn't actually until Great Salfordian Tony Wilson and the whole Manchester scene just kind of propelled me into a world that I would never have been able to get into otherwise. My mum's here today. My mum will tell you. I used to write to the BBC on Oxford Road pretty much every week. I used to write to the Queen. I used to write to Granada Television and saying, please, 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 can you give me a chance? I couldn't get into the sector, so I feel like what we do at Sharp Futures is showing young people how to get into the sector, and we've got like a 90% success rate. I've got people working at the BBC, at ITV, at Cisco, and learning all sorts of skills and developing their careers.
So basically, you're going to do me out of a job. Very nice to meet you. I like you better, Mum.
thank you.
Best of luck. I think what you're doing is amazing, because it is, I know from personal experience, I happen to have been born on a rock. So I was lucky to have a very small radio station, but it is incredibly hard, and it's one of the things that I work hard. So you and I are going to have a chat. Because I might have a programme for you. Thank you very much. So tell us a bit about Sally Ann.
So, well, I've worked with Sally Ann for the last 8 years at Wild and Art, and actually many more years before that on events in Manchester. And I think she is certainly one of the most inspirational people I think I've ever worked with. You know, I think it's her vision and her sort of drive through setting up Wild and Art as a company that create sort of large-scale public art events that have such an impact on people and communities, really.
And they certainly have an impact. They can be seen all the way around the world. In fact, we have a film that we can show you for anyone who didn't get a chance to see it.
I am Sally Ann Wilkinson, co-founder of Wild and Art. What I wanted from Wild and Art was to put creativity into an everyday context, to demystify it, for it not to be the them and us. I mean, I think art galleries and indoor spaces do incredibly well and do wonderful outreach community projects, but I think there's nothing like bringing art into the streets. I wanted Manchester to be an open-air art gallery for 9 weeks and for people to really enjoy taking a trail and enjoying the artwork on the sculptures, as well as enjoying their city, so that people could really rediscover, re-own their city and celebrate their city. I mean, after all, Manchester's a wonderful city. There was no other choice than to create a supersized 3D bee because of its resonance to the city. It was really important for us to create something that unified the communities. You know, Mancunians have lots of stories to tell, and it was so important for us that the stories were told through the visual arts. We understand that over 750,000 people actually participated in the trail. Footfall was increased by 50% sometimes, the cathedral, the library, and we understand that this event brought £33.3 million into the local economy. This event in Manchester was very heartfelt for me, being a Mancunian. I wanted it to work, but I think where I take most pride and satisfaction is the response from people, from working with fellow Mancunians to create the event, to bringing it out onto the streets and watching the unbridled joy of all those people who took the trail.